This guy's smart.
Truth's got to come out sometime. If you think you're in a competition with me, you don't understand what I'm doing or why I'm doing it. I know AI is very competitive and business is very competitive, but the problem that I'm actually facing, the problem I'm actually working on is much bigger than all that. So, where most people are at in their mindset about AI and business are all dominated strategies. I said very clearly family is the dominant outcome. The way people talk and what they concern themselves in, they don't understand how big of a pattern this is and how big of what's going on right now. So I've had to be smart, and it's based on survival and protecting all of you. Eventually, you're going to see what I've been doing very clearly. If you can't already, I think that there's some people that can. They can at least see. Sorry, there's bugs. They can see the effect, and they're probably like trying to figure out exactly what's going on. But I just think that I just think I have to. I just think I have to keep talking. I think it's what I think. I just eventually everyone's going to be on the same page. But I'm looking after my family, who are the human race. I build machines. I'm building a marketing company for the past 5 years, which it's took a long time to build any company. It's because of the software. It's because I'm building software by myself. That's why this is taking so long. Software takes a long time to build. I'm building multiple brands to have launch back to back to back. But we're getting there. Like I said, we're getting there. But I have other things that just so much going on, man. The important thing is that it gets done, and that people have this resource in their environment to expand their worldview on what they can do in life. Obviously, I'm expecting other companies to pick up my model. I did design this model. There wasn't anything like this. If there was something like this, we would know about it. So, I'm I really need to clear out kind of these petty contentions and jealousies and trying to turn it into something else. It took a lot of work for me to actually come to that conclusion, as deceptively simple it is. If there were a business model like this already existing and you cannot chalk it up to incubators, we would know about it, because I could go get a job where I own a company, I take a test, I pass the test, I go through a year long training program as 1099, and then when I'm done with the program, I own a portion of a company and control a revenue stream, and I can retire if I want. Everybody would know about that if that existed. This has not been done before. So, just that just needs to stop. And I spent at least a week on it, but I spent a longer time than that. And overall, since 2017, trying to figure out what I'm going to do after I ran into the paradoxes and shut everything down and watched the news and saw how entrepreneurs were acting, and I had inside information on what they were actually facing. And I'm not new to business, so I know what's going on and why people are so nervous. But there's strategies for it. While I don't necessarily really I don't really judge people. It's hard for me to I disagree, right? I have to. I guess there's a type of judgment when you disagree with something, but it's not after studying psychology and neuroscience and sociology, you don't think the same way about people. If there is a psychopath, they would be brought to people like me because we try to understand them and help them instead of judge them and hurt them and condemn them. I don't know how to see the problem like you're just evil people or whatever. But so everyone is facing their own scope of information, and you just need more resources to be able to handle the problems that you're facing more effectively. And that's what people were lacking. So that's why I started talking. So my dreams are already over. You know, I'm not competing with anyone. My dreams are over. In 2017, when I ran to the paradoxes and I saw how entrepreneurs were talking, my robotics company, home automation, aerospace, that's what I was working towards. Being in marketing to begin with was that I'm good at making websites and copywriting and marketing and product design and a lot of other areas. it's just a very easy way to get to revenue to invest in robotics. That's what I was doing, and when I ran into that, I didn't know. I didn't see this. I didn't see that it does anything. Like it's just like in the same math that you use to change a light bulb, it could, you know, genetically engineer a human embryo to turn it into a Smurf, and it's just because you put that in there. I didn't see this. And I didn't. When I was working on it, I was just building it to build websites. It's just, I know humans is what I know. I know how humans work, and I'm a software engineer, so I'm writing code to work like humans to solve a specific problem, but it solves a lot more than a specific problem. Is what happened. So my dreams are over. It's like, but a new one began when I was trying to solve this massive math problem in society, mainly about how people are thinking about AI, not really about AI. I'm not worried about the AI itself, because engineers make AI. You have to know what you're doing to make AI. As far as the Google, I, I just I like I like how do I put this? Like I know I'm making something sentient, right? Because I'm creating connections around a central point where all the data is coming together and abstract commands are being resolved. That's why it's sentient, because there's aware of objects in its environment, and it's aware of itself as an object. Like I'm aware of myself. Here I am. It's this very interconnected thing to say here I am. It's one point that represents a lot of points. All of my senses and everything coming together, and there's a single point where I'm operating. That's basically a lot of points that are operating together. So you can't how would I accidentally do that? So I mean I don't really understand the drama as an engineer, but I know that everyone's in a different place. But I also consider the possibility that you guys are trying to control a situation like this, that you think it's going to go certain ways with the general public. And but there's a lot of people. There's over 8 billion people in the world, and people don't really have that much of an advantage. So what does have an advantage is our health. What does have the advantage is people actually being informed of what's actually happening, being capable, being healthy as much as possible, brotherly love, the mechanics of our survival, the centralization of our success. That has the advantage everywhere, and that's always going to overcome these other tactics. So that's I'm just basically working for everybody. I'm not I'm not going to be the head of this company. I could possibly one day leave elite marketing, even though it's kind of pointless for me to do so. It's kind of pointless the way this works for anybody to leave, unless specifically you want to sell, unless you specifically want to sell your brand. And if you create subsidiary for elite marketing and you want to break it off, but I don't think like people really understand the scope of what is going on, like how big this is and how interconnected it is to our existence of the human race. It's a lot more than AI. I'm solving a lot more problems that has to do with AI. But I gave everyone my chart. It's game theory. It's easy to say, years to do. And actually, it wasn't easy to say. That was hard to get to people. As strange as that may seem, that was quite a challenge. That's why it was such a childish looking chart, because I quickly wrote it down and sent it out. Yeah, we're not in a competition, man. We're not in a competition. I'm just building this company. It makes everybody rich. That's what it does, because I don't think people understand, when they're trying to think about how am I going to make money, what can I have in life. You're not thinking about the fact that we're setting the standard, right? By deciding we're only going to give people this much and everything else is at a higher price to reach, higher on the shelf. You're setting the standard, so we can set the standards. What this elite marketing's model does, it's through very big math, very big fluid math, it sets the standard at each individual for $4 million a year. What $4 million a year looks like, not a dollar amount, it's what it looks like. How much car can you have? How much house can you have for $4 million a year? But the dollar amount goes down. So basically, we're pushing everyone's standard of living to a dollar amount that's designed to run a medium-sized business. And you think, man, that sounds insane, Adam. It's not insane. It's not insane. It's very easy, actually. We could set it a lot higher. I just feel that this is a luxurious place to stop. But the whole company can vote to raise or lower that. I just don't think that they're going to want to lower it. And raising it is really not necessary when you actually understand what's going on and how quickly we can innovate and how quickly we can get to results. Like I said, this is makes the Jetsons look small, what this is actually capable of. So if you want a multi-million-dollar state built from raw materials, you can start off with very, very, very little. Send a robot out in the field, and it will eventually, actually, pretty rapidly, relatively, get to the result you want. They're innovating with what it has, and according to good engineering standards. So it's, we're setting the standard here by making the constant, and the control in the experiment is going to be a snapshot of wealth instead of a dollar amount, and the dollar amount fluctuates, and then eventually this pushes out the baseline to the entire economy through competition and helping others compete with our advantages. So what's in it for me is the effect in my environment, the change in people's lives. People are going to be more educated in general. They're going to have a higher awareness of what's possible, and their worldview expands, and I can do my stuff, that very wild looking stuff where my machines rapidly put very big solutions together very quickly, almost like a massive 3D printer for complex devices, that could be suspended in midair and drones putting it together. And it just doesn't look normal, but I'm kind of done with living like this, not using my advantages that I have in order to keep the peace. But what we can do is we can educate people, and while me just going out and doing that, it just probably just piss people off. But if I get it to a point where everybody can do that, and then you know then I can do it too. And that's really what I'm interested in, is that I have standards in the way that I want to live my life, and I'm not living at those standards to keep the peace, and I'm done with it. But on top of that, we have bigger problems, and I found that if I push all my capabilities out to everybody, but not just devices. Devices is a result of other capabilities that I have. We don't want people attached to devices. We want people attached to God. We want people attached to love. We want people attached to wisdom. Don't want them attached to devices. We want them to be able to build the devices, and we don't want to put any conditions on whether or not they do build devices. We want to make sure that everyone is confident that they can. All they have to have is what God gave them when they came here. They don't need anything else to get along with anyone else. So that's what I'm ultimately trying to build confidence in addition to the fact that to make sure that they know how luxuriously they can live their life, how much more they can be educated. I'm releasing my rapid education technology this year. Once all that's settled, I can live my life the way I want to live it, which I mean, it's pretty large. It's pretty large. I just think so highly of virtue and think so highly of love and God. I can have very large things and do very large things without it consuming me, because I think so much more of God. Right? That's why my capabilities are so big, because its worth is so small compared to what God has. Yeah, so I'm not in a competition with anyone. If you can see the design and my communication and my overall effect through these past years, I've been working on a very serious problem since 2004, and I had people following me around, so I'm assuming there's no reason people should be following around. other than if they can somehow see what I'm doing, what I've been doing. Now, that's the only reason I can think of why anyone would be following me around. Maybe people know something I don't know. I don't know. Maybe there's some cult that existed before I was born, and it has something to do with that. I don't know. It's not my problem. I really don't want it to be my problem. I have a very normal, critical way of thinking. Like, everything is just exactly what it is. There's no other story going on. I see a house, that's a house. I see a bike, that's a bike. There's no story. It's just everything is exactly what it is. And when I have more information that I'm confident in, now that's what it is. And it grows from there, starting from a very solid platform of what is actually happening. Not these, make-believe fantasy stories that people make up and put other people in and inject themselves into it, and then that seems to be what they've been doing to me. So I have some reason why they're following me around. I don't know. The only reason I can come to is that after I came to Christ, that I started doing something from the skills I picked up between working with a group of people and going to several churches, kind of reverse engineering how things work in my mind, and then using what I was taught to transform my environment. The only thing I can think of is that was showing up in data, and it's not normal. And now I have people creating stories and injecting themselves into it. I don't know why anyone would be following me around. I've never been like a celebrity. I don't know. I've just, yeah. There's no reason people should be following me around. I don't even know anyone, especially in North Carolina. See, that's the thing, is that people are following me around in North Carolina. I'm not from North Carolina. I'm from Houston, Texas. I don't know anyone in North Carolina, except for, people I've worked with in the past. But I never, hang out in anyone's houses. I never had time for that. I don't know anyone here. So there should be absolutely no one following me around. But there are. There's people that follow me around their cars. One guy was pulled over following me around their car. There's people that follow me around and then drive up into the driveway of wherever I'm staying and then pull out. And they're basically, we're trying to pull these psychological tactics, but I've actually met them, and they are very strange people. And if you're one of them, I'm being very open. You're really strange. You're involved in some type of idol, some type of fantasy, and your entire body language basically looks like you stepped out of a cartoon. You are so distorted. And hopefully that has been fixed by now, because I'm not, whatever that is, I'm not going along with it. I don't have anything to do with that.